Also in the NFC West, the Chargers beat the Raiders to move into the 5 seed, which allows them to avoid a return of Harbaugh versus Harbaugh, although I was kind of looking forward to Harbaugh versus Harbaugh.
Yeah.
Jim would rather go to Houston and play the Texans.
Definitely.
The team that John just beat 31-2 on Christmas Day. So with the Chargers beating the Raiders 34-20, that locks in the Steelers as the 6th seed. They go to Baltimore. The Steelers have lost 4 in a row, including a loss in Baltimore along the way. The Chargers go to Houston, and the Broncos go to Buffalo. That's your AFC playoff bracket. And, yeah, I really was hoping for Harbaugh versus Harbaugh, but oh well. Oh, well.
Yeah, now we couldn't see it really until maybe the AFC Championship, right? That'd be the only possible way that it does happen. Because if the Chargers win, right?
If the Broncos would win and the Chargers and Ravens win.
There'd have to be an upset, right? But yeah, I mean, if it goes chalk where Buffalo beats Denver, Baltimore beats Pittsburgh, okay, and then the Chargers do beat Houston, which they're favored, I believe, by 2.5 on the road in Houston. Yeah, then it's going to be
If
Chargers
it goes
at
chalk,
Kansas City.
It's Chargers at Kansas City,
Right.
and it's Baltimore at Buffalo.
I know, it's going to be
Baltimore. It was in Baltimore,
steamrolled them
but
early in the
steamrolled
year.
them early in the year.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
We'll see where that goes. The Chargers, though, a little bit like I just said with Denver, the one thing that's going to be positive, we know their defense is good, right? They're really well coached, right? They're sound. There's not much they mess up on that side of the ball. The offense was the question with the Chargers, right? And yesterday, I think the good thing is we know they're going to try to run the ball and stay patient with that. But, damn, Justin Herbert in the pass game. The Raiders put up a fight yesterday. The Raiders' defense is a pain in the butt, but to get Quentin Johnson going the way they did on that side of the ball, just can't say enough about what Jim Harbaugh has done there. A little bit like what I say with Sean Payton. He's playing with house money this year. Their first time NFL defensive coordinator. The roster is not where they want it to be. But the first thing he did was he started to teach them how to not lose football games, which we've seen the Chargers do for the better part of the last decade. They don't lose football games. They don't make mistakes. They play tough. They play physical. They do the things the right way. And things are on the up and up for the Chargers, that's for sure.
The Raiders are one of the teams we're keeping an eye on for a potential coaching change. Right. Antonio Pierce got his year. He earned it last year as the interim coach. It has not gone well. I said last night on Football Night in America, and I've heard this consistently, in the building, the vibe is nothing is changing. And that's important because the vibe in the building in New England was, we might be out of here.
Right.
And we'll talk about that later.
Right.
They were. So what the feeling is among the coaching staff, I think, is very important. But that doesn't mean Mark Davis isn't going to blow out the coaching staff and start over. What they have going in their favor is the quarterback situation was so bad that might save the coaching staff.
The Devontae Adams situation.
I'm told one of the members of the coaching staff, when they found out the quarterbacks this year were Gardner Minshew and Aiden O'Connell, they were like, that's who we're going with at quarterback in the National Football League. All due respect to those guys.
There in the first round. They didn't get that.
Yeah.
I'll say this about the Raiders. It hasn't been perfect for Antonio Pierce, but you certainly can't question the fact that they came out and played every week. They're not super talented. I don't know anybody out there. Were we expecting the Raiders to be in the playoff contention? I certainly wasn't. With the quarterbacks you talked about, the Devontae Adams situation, right? The defense is still missing marquee names that would make it a high-end NFL defense. None of that's going on. I mean, they coach and do things the right way that way. I mean, I mean, it seems like he's going to get fired, but I haven't heard anything tangible to where
if I had to
guess,
happen.
I think he's going to stay.
I put the marker on stay, subject to the fact that Mark Davis is the one who's going to make the final decision.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And you have to factor in everything about Mark Davis when trying to predict what he's going to do.
Sure.
And then how much influence is Tom Brady going to have? Do they think they could wrest a Mike Vrabel away from the Patriots?
Right.
And we're going to talk about that later, where we think that's going. But for now, I put a lot of faith in the vibe in the locker room. The collection of coaches who seem to believe that everything is going to remain status quo, that they're constantly talking, Antonio Pierce and Mark Davis, about the future.
Yeah. You usually hear, and we start to see things that lead us to go, things are getting dysfunctional there. You don't get that feeling with the Raiders.
Look at it this way. They bungled the clock management in the Black Friday game against the Chiefs.
Yep.
They could have won that game.
Right.
There was not the player reaction like there was for the Bears. For the Bears, it was like, this is the last straw.
Right.
There was never any of that with Antonio Pierce. I think he knows how to connect with his players and
He's
motivate his players. And if you give him a good quarterback, I mean, Brock Bowers, for crying out loud, what he did with substandard quarterbacks, you get a high-end quarterback in there, and Brock Bowers is going to put up, high-end receiver numbers.
I mean, he
already is, but I mean, it's going to be 130 catches.
Mismatch nightmare. They got one there. The quarterback is what you said. Aiden O'Connell did a good job. I don't want to take that away from him. The way he played, he's bought himself another 7 or 8 years in the NFL as a bridge starter, backup, whatever you want to say there. I certainly don't look at Aiden O'Connell and go, oh, wow, he's horrible. He belongs in the NFL, and maybe one day he will be the starter, but he's the kind of guy that every team's going to look at and go, I think we could do better. I think we can find somebody a little more athletic with a bigger arm. And I expect that to happen there with the Raiders, let alone they need to just get some vibes and some positive stuff going with their fan base to latch onto. They're in Vegas. They want to be a big show there. Then, yeah, you got to get some stars other than Max Crosby to draw the people in there and get the fan base, riled up and positive again. We'll see where it goes.
Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.